The View, Sara Haines' upset producer lied to her. On The View, Sara Haines recently lashed out at a producer for deceiving her. She wasn't happy about it and told him her thoughts on the situation. This also played into an entire conversation all the women had recently about Gayle King, with Joy Behar calling out Gayle for being scared. Here's what Sara had to say about the situation, what the producer lied about, and what will happen next. Sara Haines calls out The View producer over lies. Previously on The View, Whoopi Goldberg talked to the women about Gayle King traveling into space. This trip features an all-woman crew. Katy Perry and Lauren Sanchez also joined Gayle on this trip. However, when discussing the trip, Joy Behar said she didn't understand why, especially since Gayle said it terrified her. Joy Behar said she would never consider a trip into space, and Whoopi Goldberg also shot down the idea. However, Joy also said that if any The View host would go, it would be Sara Haines. As a result, Sara received a phone call from producer Brian Tata during the Behind the Table podcast. Tata told Sara she might get a chance to go on a Blue Origin space trip if she was interested. Sara said she would consider it. But this was a fabrication. Brian just wanted to see if Joy was right. This led Sara to call out Brian on this week's podcast episode. "You tricked me," Sara said to Brian. Brian expressed regret and stated that he desired to know the truth. He responded, "And it turns out, yes, you would go on the Blue Origin flight." Sara indicated her interest. However, she said it wouldn't happen because her husband would disapprove of her taking the trip. Sara describes her husband as the voice of reason. "I deep down know that the risks I took before I had kids need to look different from the risks I take now that I have kids," Sara said. Sara Haines says husband won't allow this trip. Sara is married to a lawyer who is completely risk-averse. Sara said she mostly avoids adrenaline activities, and her husband knows how to avoid the dangers. That said, Sara admitted nothing is ever off the table. Brian asked if it was possible, and Sara said, "It would be cool. Again, I believe that my husband would never permit it." Brian admitted that with Gayle King and Katy Perry going up together, he and Sara could follow suit. Sara claimed that she had previously attempted paragliding, bungee jumping, skydiving, and building rappelling in support of Hoda Kotb's fight against cancer. Most of this happened before she had kids. She also got into a NASCAR car to experience the high speeds, which she said was probably not a good idea. But no one knew.